One of the biggest questions asked in philosophy, even today, is can we ever truly know anything? So it all started by this man, Rene Descartes. I think that's how you pronounce that. It's the 1600s. And Rene started to notice something. He noticed that our senses lie to us sometimes. Things like how dreams can feel real and hallucinations and how we misremember things. So he started to think, if my senses can be wrong sometimes, how do I know they aren't wrong right now? And you can imagine a French accent. Uh, and that thought spiraled. He even started to imagine an evil demon feeding him a fake reality, a complete illusion. Yeah, I'm sure this is how the demon looked like. In any case, he was a peculiar guy. So, at this point, he started doubting everything: his own senses, the physical world, his own body, maths. Like, he would have been a fun teacher. And he went on trying to solve this problem, trying to rebuild knowledge from literally nothing. And as you can guess, he didn't get far. He went on these chain of thoughts. So, if the world and everything might be fake, one thing is for certain: I am doubting things right now. And doubting is a form of thinking. And thinking can't happen without someone or something doing the thinking. So therefore, I must exist, at least as something that thinks. And yes, if you guessed it at this point, he concluded by saying, I think, therefore I am. So he didn't get far, but he got pretty iconic. So it basically means everything else might be fake, but right now I am a mind that is thinking, so I at least know that that is true. So now let's fast forward to the 1700s. And people are like, alright, sensors might be a bit unreliable, but at least we have our logic and patterns. But this guy, David Hume, I don't know if that's how you pronounce Hume, was like, wait a minute, explain that. And they were like, well, that, like how we know that the sun will rise tomorrow. And David was like, nah, that's not knowledge. That's a habit. David was not the one to play around. So basically, he was saying that we don't actually know if the sun will rise tomorrow. We just assume it will, because it always has been. So we don't have proof that the sun might not just explode tomorrow. We just assume it'll do the same thing it always has been because it's become a habit at this point. But habits can change. So now David came along and ruined the certainty we had on science, basically. Damn you, David. I mean, if the greater the mass, the greater the force of attraction could be a lie, then what about the memes, right? So now let's fast forward again, and we are in modern times, and science has advanced, especially neuroscience. And neuroscience came along and said, guys, your brain constructs reality. So basically, it means that everything you see, taste, touch, smell, hear, all of it is what your brain processes and gives to you. It is not the actual thing. So we humans are living in a sort of forged reality. Memory is unreliable, and perception is editable and personalized. That's why some people prefer vanilla ice cream and why some prefer chocolate. Which, vanilla is just better if you ask me, but we're not there. So basically, we're all living in our own little worlds that our minds made for us. Think about that for a second. So now the other big question emerged from all this. What counts as knowledge? Like, do we know? Like, how do you know something? Does knowing even exist? And that's how this motherfucker came to be. Epistemology. Woof, big word. AKA the theory of knowledge. It's basically a branch in philosophy that tries to explain, that tries to ask knowledge that like, hey man, like, the fuck is up with you? Like, where do you come from and how far can we go with you? Epistemology has its own branches as well, that all focus on certain things: science, maths, morale, religion. Now, all those are videos in their own, so that's for the future. But now, in this video, the final question is, do we agree? And me, yeah, 100%. Humans only experience about 1 to 5% of this thing we call reality. We're just that limited as a species. We all know atoms, right? They're pretty small. Do you know what's smaller than that? No, not protons and electrons. Small, small. Yeah, quarks, leptons, bosons. Do you know what's smaller than that? No one does. That's our limit right now. We don't know what's smaller, or if there even is something smaller, or how smaller does it get, which basically explains everything we know about anything so far. The nice thing about us is that we are an intelligent species and we are progressing. But soon we might go extinct, or all just cease to exist, never truly knowing anything. And if you think that's scary, think about the relationships you're in right now. Yeah. So next time you say you know something, you really don't.